The harvest is in. Are you ready to take advantage of it this new moon? Stay tuned to find out how. Hello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive. Welcome to New Moon Musings for the new moon cycle that begins on September 2nd. Happy September, happy birthday to all of those Virgos, and towards the end of the cycle, happy birthday to the Libras. So, for those of you who are just joining me brand spanking new, watch this 1-minute clip to find out how this reading can work for you throughout the entire cycle. For those of you that are old hat, click on over and let's get started. For those of you who are new to me, here's a quick little breakdown on how to make this reading work for you. The new moon cycle works where it moves in 3.5 basically days throughout that 28-day cycle. So sometimes you're in a phase a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. It is not linear. But what I do is I give you dates connected to each of the phases of the new moon cycle so that you can come back to the video after you've watched the whole thing, you've taken it all in, you come back to that video for those particular times so that you understand, okay, I'm in, the waxing crescent phase, and what do I need to know about that? What is transpiring in my world right now? And this information is really helpful because it's giving me perspective on what it is I need to learn, or maybe I need to pull back, or maybe I need to lean in a little bit more. So use this. It's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. Use it throughout the month to support you. So, welcome to September and happy new moon for September 2nd. We are in the season of Virgo, and this new moon energy is really going to be helping us with organization, structure, planning around what is coming up and coming through, and it's really putting an emphasis and a focus on how we are harvesting the seeds that we planted. It's reaping what we're sowing. And that can go both ways, folks. It can be reaping what you have sown in the positive ways and also reaping what you have sown in the not so positive ways. So you really want to be in a space of acceptance and allowing and understanding that when you are reaping something that you maybe didn't mean to sow, or you didn't realize that it was going to come to fruition in quite that way, understand that you have the power, the ability to make shifts and changes in the moment to make the most of it. Not everything that comes through in a harvest comes through in a perfect space, in a perfect state, but it doesn't mean it's not useful. So let's dive on in and see what we've got coming up. So our new moon is happening on September 2nd at 9:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I forgot to put the UTC time in there, so I think that's 6 hours ahead, if I'm not mistaken, which would put us at maybe 3:56 a.m. Forgive me if that's not correct. And what we are expecting here with this Virgo new moon is this harvest moon energy, or this full corn moon energy is what we are going to be experiencing. This is going to be a great month to get your affairs in order, and I feel like it's really important to tap into that. So we are going to be pulling cards from the Vice Versa Tarot, a fairly new deck to myself, and then we're pulling some affirmation cards on each of the sort of the four quarters, if you will, of the new moon, and that is the Starseeds Oracle from Nari Anastasia. We're going to start off with our release card. And the release card is, what am I releasing from the previous new moon cycle? And we all are releasing a lot. August was kind of a kooky month, and there's a lot that you're going to want to release. So be intentional about what it is that you're releasing, you're shifting, you're moving along. So sorry, these cards are very slippery. They're falling all over the place. So just give me 1 second here. So what we're releasing from that previous cycle with all of that chaos and that energy and how it might have jumbled you up, you want to release that so that you can start off on an even keel. This is beautiful. We've got 9 of Swords. Makes a lot of sense. This is definitely a card that we want to release because the 9 of Swords indicates that nightmare energy, waking up from a nightmare and still being in the energy of the nightmare. It also represents high anxiety and our thoughts going cuckoo. Right? It's the monkey mind, being stuck in the monkey mind. So this is a month and this is an energy that's going to support us really coming to terms with what we need to focus on, what really matters, what is of importance. And what is of importance is not what's going on up here. It's not the ego voice that wants to dictate and run the show. It's actually an invitation to end that and to come deeper into the heart space. So I love that we are releasing a lot of that anxiety that is going to be there collectively. It's going to be kind of all around. You know, you might not feel particularly anxious about what's going on in your life on an individual level, but you're definitely going to be feeling what the collective is feeling. We're all going to be in it. So if your life's going pretty well, but you're still feeling this, I call it the fear and dread, where I wake up in the morning and I've got fear and dread, but I have no idea what's going on. Everything's okay in my life. Where's this fear and dread coming from? 9 out of 10 times, it's the collective. It's something that's coming from the collective. All right, our soul card. What is the soul, our collective soul purpose for this month? What is it that we are learning? Oh, interesting. So we've got the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is the romantic one, you know, the romanticizer, the knight in shining armor. And so when we're talking about what is our collective growth and learning, I feel like it's an invitation to imagine a little bit more, to step more into that heart space and into our feelings in a positive way. The imagination, the romanticizer, the grand gesture. The Knight of Cups does not hold back on his expression of emotion. He sees something that he wants, or he sees someone that he wants to engage with. He's not afraid to make the first move. So I'm hearing the word initiation or initiator. The collective soul, it's about initiating the new, initiating the desired. What is it that you really want? So this month, I feel like it's important for each of us to embrace some of this energy. I'm also noticing here as I'm looking at this card, it's got the energy of Page of Cups. And it's interesting because it is a knight, but I'm seeing the Page of Cups typically has this fish that is bouncing out of the cup. So I'm going to read it a little bit in both ways. That fish jumping out of the cup, I feel represents a couple of different things for this month. It represents the fertility, the good luck, the abundance of what is coming up and coming through. We need to be focused on that. And also a fish is representative of Pisces energy. And spoiler alert, our full moon this month is going to be in Pisces. And Pisces is the opposing sign or the opposite sign to the Virgo. So you're dealing with a lot of dreams, psychic visions and awareness, the nightmares that come with that. I think it's interesting that we're letting go of the nightmare and we're stepping more into an initiation of creativity, of fertility, of the birthing of new things. But we do have that Pisces energy. So I feel that Pisces is already starting to sort of influence what's coming up and coming through for the month. So step into your nightly energy and understand that that Page of Cups energy is also influencing us with creativity. What do you want to initiate from a desired perspective, and how you're going to do that creatively, how it's going to come through in a creative way. Okay, we're on to our new moon card, and our new moon card represents I manifest. So what energies are here to support your manifesting? How can you lean into their wisdom? And this is happening, again, September 2nd, 9:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is what you're going to be doing to lean into your wisdom and the wisdom of this card. And it's going to go from about September 2nd to about the 5th. And how interesting. We have the Ace of Swords. So already some sword action and sword energy coming through in the reading. So the realm of the mind, mental energy, intellect, communication, contracts, things of that nature. And that's what I'm hearing is you're making a new contract with yourself. You're making a new contract with your heart and your soul space. Anything that you have, any path that you've been on, anything that you've been focusing on up to this point, that no longer seems to work or to jive or to flow. Or suddenly you wake up one morning and you go, I've been pursuing this for so long and I'm finally at the place where I could really go big with it. Why am I feeling wah-wah about it consistently? It's not the fear. I've overcome the fear of it. It's that I've kind of lost the desire for it. Let me take a look at that. I feel like this is going to be an invitation to evaluate and review some of those paths that you're on and to be able to rewrite or renegotiate your contracts. And this, again, it's renegotiation contracts with yourself, with your high self, with your guides, with your soul purpose and your divine blueprint. It's not about contracts with others, although for some of you that may be something that does come up. I'm feeling that this is a deeply personal renegotiation. And, you might be on path and feel like, yeah, I've evaluated and I'm very happy with everything that I'm seeing and everything that I'm doing. And I'm content to remain on this course. Awesome. You've evaluated the contract and you feel good about its terms. But for most of us, I'm feeling the energy of this is where you're going to be able to make some really powerful, really significant directional shifts and changes. And whatever you put into practice here, whatever you sign on from a contractual perspective, it's going to happen quickly. So, this is great news for a lot of us who have been in that space of feeling stuck. I've got all these ideas, but I have not been able to, put them out into the world. This is now the time where you're committing to it and the universe is like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. You want it? We're ready to go. So that's going to be exciting because there's a lot of movement with this. And the ace of anything, but the Ace of Wands as well, is pure potential. And I like to say it's a nothing burger unless you actually apply it or do something with the inspiration. And the Ace of Swords is inspired thought. So you're actually taking it beyond that potential space. And this 3-day window is very potent. So you really want to take advantage of that. All right, let's pull an affirmation card to see how that can support that Ace of Swords energy. Ooh, this one looks cool. Ooh, I love it. Reflection. Can't make this shit up. I swear to you, peeps, you can't. See all aspects of yourself through the reflection of the one who mirrors your hidden self. Ooh, that's so good. See all aspects of yourself through the reflection of the one who mirrors your hidden self. And in this case, I feel like, yes, you can measure your review, your internal review based on the experiences and the interactions you've had with others, but really understand that this is a negotiation with yourself. So no one else is involved in this in a, I want to say in an obvious way or in a visceral way. They may be a catalyst to help you to see what areas you want to make changes in, but ultimately you're the one who's making those decisions. Okay, now we're at our waxing crescent card. This affirmation is I plan. What do I need to consider when creating my plan for the cycle? Any challenges or opportunities to be aware of? This is happening September 2nd through the 10th. Another sword. Wow, we've got the King of Swords. So when we are talking about the plan, kings are great about enacting a plan. Kings connect to their advisors. They do a lot of deep thinking and deep discussing. And then at the end of the day, whatever plan has been enacted upon or has been created, they're like, okay, let's do this. We're doing this. And the King of Swords never looks backwards. The King of Swords has complete and total confidence, sometimes to almost like an arrogant degree at times, that their plan is good. But here's why: because they've done their homework. They've done all the necessary dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's, or they've really connected with that intuitive side of themselves, and they know this is the right path, and I'm going to trust that whatever happens on this path is happening because it's supposed to. So I feel when we're talking about this waxing crescent and the plan, for each of you, it's really about embodying that King of Swords energy that says, I don't need to doubt myself. I don't need to doubt what is coming up and coming through. I need to trust that I've chosen this path. I've committed to it. I've got the resources that I require, or I trust that the resources are going to show up for me. And I'm not going to put any extra worry into this. I'm simply going to act upon what has transpired. I'm moving forward and I'm moving ahead. Now, certain kings sit back and let others enact the plan for them, and they simply command it. And other kings are active in it. They, King Arthur, he fights alongside his soldiers, right? And I don't want to say that September and this particular time is going to be about battle and a fight. I don't feel that, but I feel that there's a level of triumph that happens when you do start to feel like, oh my God, everything is finally opened up. And I do feel confident with this plan. I do have clear vision for what it is that I am trying to create. Or I've had the vision for a long time. Now I know the next steps that I need to take, and I'm taking them. Also, one word of caution here. I feel like with the King of Swords, even though he's done a lot of legwork and sort of understands the general gist of what, he knows his ultimate goal, and he's got steps and plans in place. But again, he doesn't get so controlling about it that he says, well, this has to happen, and then this, and then this. He's saying, okay, I've put the wheels in motion, and whatever transpires, we're going to rise up to meet it. That's important for a lot of you to hear, because the tendency with the King of Swords, if you get into more of that arrogant space, it's no, I know that my plan is right, and I'm going to stick to it, and you end up kind of messing with the universe. You micromanage, and in the end, you kind of mess up what was actually a good thing going, because you got too controlling about it, rather than saying, I've done the work and now it's about just showing up and saying yes to what arises. So keep that in mind. All right, now we've got our first quarter moon. I act. What energy fuels my motivation? And how can I collaborate with source energy to empower my actions? This is happening on September 11th through the 13th. Oh, we've got the world. And what a beautiful depiction of the world. So the world is the sum total of everything that you were, working towards. It's recognizing that you've learned a lot of lessons. You're at the completion of a cycle. But as with everything, that cycle is truly never ending. You come back full circle into the next chapter, the next cycle, or the next sporadic event. And so when we're saying I act, I feel like the world is saying use this understanding that everything is it's infinity. It truly is never ending. One cycle leads into the next. A death brings about a rebirth, and a rebirth eventually brings about a death. And we go through this cycle over and over and over again. So you want to enact that truth. Understanding, again, with that level of control, or that understanding of I don't control anything other than my own actions, my own choices, my own thoughts. That's what I have control over, and everything else is just showing up to give me resource, give me something to work with, so that I can have that soul growth that I'm striving for. So when we are talking about I act, use the energy of conclusions, resolutions, and this understanding that this ending is leading into the new beginning, and I can use not only the wisdom and knowledge that I've gained from this completion, but also I can use the the stuff that I can discard as well. I'm releasing the, I talk about it in terms of like the scavenger birds or the vultures and things like that. Everybody's like, ooh, like they deal with death. They eat death. They eat the carcasses. They're using resource. They're using all of the resource. We've gotten so used to, I won't think about that today. I'll think about that tomorrow. I don't want to look at that because that's going to be painful or it's going to be uncomfortable to deal with. The scavenger says, ooh, dead bird. There's a lot that I can make use of with this dead bird. Not only is it going to nourish me, but I can use the bones and things for my nest and for my baby's nests and things of that nature. And the bird is going to sort of rot into the soil, which provides the soil with nutrients that allow other things to grow, for life to grow out of that death. So not to get, really dark here, but I feel like that's what it is. It's about looking at death objectively and really looking at what this cycle brings, what this cycle is ready to discard, because you can actually use it to fuel your next steps and your next adventure. And that feels significant. All right, let's see what affirmation we've got around that. Oh, this one's standing out to me. Stillness. Reflect on this moment with love, kindness, and compassion. So when you are embracing this truth, when you are saying, yay, I'm celebrating this completion, and I'm also recognizing that along with this victory and this celebration, there's also grief or loss or things that it's important for me to reflect on, even if it's uncomfortable, because it's all part of the package. We can't take the happy without the sad, because without the sad, we wouldn't know the happy, right? It's the light and the shadow. It's the duality that we all live with. We need to stop being afraid of the duality. It's a part of our lives. It just is. It just is. All right, now we are at our waxing gibbous card. I choose. What energy can I lean into for confidence as I discern my commitments? And this is September 14th through the 16th. So, we've gone through this, we've manifested, we've put a plan together, we're acting on the plan, and now what is coming up as a result of our actions, we now get to choose how we integrate or how we interact with it. So when we are talking about what energy can I lean into for confidence as I discern my commitments, we are looking at another sword energy. Wow. And okay, so I was completely wrong in our soul card reading. I read this as a knight, and I'm going to just stand by what came through because it was the proper message for what came through, but this is actually the page, and this is the knight. So yeah, that's how intuition works sometimes, and when you're reading the cards intuitively, you get interesting messages. So now we've got the knight showing up, and I love that it's showing up as well, because it's basically saying, yeah, you're on the right track, and this is the energy that we're involved in. So this particular knight of swords, so we had the knight, we had the page of cups. Now we've got the knight of swords, and so the knight of swords typically is a knight that really steps in, dives in deep from sometimes an impulsive perspective, but also from the perspective of, okay, I see a need, I see where things need to go. We've discussed it a little bit. Let's just get on it. Let's do this, because there's no time like the present. So there's an invitation here to really be present with what is showing up. Go without fear. Move forward without fear. The Knight of Swords often can be, I want to say, a little more impulsive in nature and can be a little snippy about their approach, or a little abrupt or rude, but the Knight of Swords also gets the job done. And I feel like that's kind of the energy that you want to embrace is, again, I don't need self-doubt. I don't need to get caught up in my thoughts in my head and my fears. I need to act with courage. I need to trust and know that the information that I've got is enough to get started. It might not be enough to get me to the end, but I also know that when I take one step or two steps, the universe is going to take 10 steps towards me. And I'm always going to get those resources that I need. So when we're saying I choose, I feel like you want to lean into this because the Knight of Swords does choose the adventure, the next step forward. There's also a leadership quality here. He leads with his heart, but he also brings his logic and his rationality to it. But he does lead with his heart. It's kind of a perfect combination between the heart and the head when there's balance. So I'm hearing that is an important word as well for all of us, is where are you at in your balance energy when you're making these decisions? Because sometimes when we're out of balance, that's what actually stops us in many ways. When we're out of balance, it stops us from making a rational choice or from moving ahead with something that we really need to move ahead with. So this is an encouragement to say, yeah, go ahead. You don't need to know all 10 steps before you go ahead with how things are moving. You need to know enough to get started and be open to learning as you go. All right, now we're at our full moon card. I can't believe we're already here. I receive. And so the full moon is happening on September 17th at 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard, which is about 4:35 a.m. UTC time. And the full moon, as I said before, is Pisces, which is Virgo's opposite. So you're going to have a lot of opposition to the sort of the structure in the organization and the service, the way you're in service. You might be feeling a little more discombobulated. You might be feeling heavier energy around your service. You might be noticing that I have the desire and want to help in these ways, but I'm also having all of these fears coming up as a result of what I can contribute. And those fears seem to be kind of stopping me in my tracks and not allowing me to move forward. So that full moon energy, understand that there's going to be that dualistic energy. And what did we say beforehand? What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. So you want to honor that duality energy that's coming through. Also, this full moon is called the harvest moon and the full corn moon. And what I love about this particular moon is the magic behind it is that it's such a bright full moon and it lasts longer than other moon energies, that basically farmers can work well into the night because they still have enough light to do the farming that they need to do. Now, of course, this happened pre-electricity, and now today, we have different resources, but the energy behind it remains the same. So what does that actually mean, and how can we translate that into our own lives? It means this is an opportunity to get ahead on things. It's an opportunity that gives us more than enough time to get done the things that we need to get done. When we talk about a harvest, this is exciting because it's reaping the rewards, it's reaping the seeds that have been sown. But harvest time is also a work time. Yes, all of the fruit is on the trees and the vines and the plants are coming up, but now you have to actually do the work to harvest that. You got to have enough, bushels and baskets. You got to have enough workforce to be able to, pick the seeds and to do what needs to be done. You've got to have people that know how to store it properly and people who can preserve it and prepare it so that it lasts through the winter. So it's a deep time of a lot of work and, again, a lot of service. There's joy in the service, there's joy in the work, and you're being given more time to do that work. But you have to be willing to do that. This is not a time to sit back and, do. You've got to really, I want to say, take advantage of the opportunities, because this is only going to last so long. And then when it's gone, you're going to be like, oh, I wish I had done this or this or this. Now, this doesn't mean you've got to overload yourself. What it means is pay attention to what's showing up in your path right now, and then being discerning about, hey, I can get ahead on this. Let me work ahead to this, because 3 weeks from now, I'm going to be so glad I got this off my plate, because there are other things that are going to take precedence and priority, or there are other things that I'm just going to want to focus on. So pay attention to that. All right, so we've got our 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups is all about that letting go. walking away. It requires a deep dive on an emotional level to understand, why am I letting this go? Why? Not why is this happening? It's why do I need to let this go? Why do I need to walk away from all of these cups? And you take a look at the cups, they're kind of in disarray. The cups are chipped, they're beat up, they've had some use. And so, it's one of those things where you say, when you have a big car repair and the car's a little bit older, you say, well, it's going to cost $4,000 to repair the vehicle. The vehicle is only worth $4,500, and there's no guarantee that it's going to, give me another 2 years or 3 years on the car. So then you're faced with is it worth the effort to repair it? Or is it time to replace it, to let it go and move forward? So the full moon is going to bring about that harvest energy, but give you an opportunity to take a look at what's going on in your life right now, what's working, what isn't, what do you need to let go of so that you can make room for this harvest, so that you can thrive and, again, take advantage of the extra time that it takes. With this particular card, we have a shooting star, a falling star. So what do we say? Make a wish. Make a wish. If you're paying attention to the cups and you're not seeing the shooting star or the falling star that's in front of you, you're missing out in a really big way on a big wish, a big opportunity that's going to actually serve you in a better way. So I feel like we want to have our eyes wide open to the opportunities. All right, our affirmation for this one, inner worlds. Your external world is a reflection of your inner world. So looking at this, it really is about, okay, I do want more in my life. I want to be more expansive. I want to be more in flow. I want more out of this life and my life than I'm getting right now. So in order to do that, I've got to do something different. I need to walk away from what I already know. And maybe I know it so well that I know it too well. Maybe I'm bored. Maybe it's time to switch things up. And the outer and the inner world, it's the yin and the yang. They exist separately in their own individual space and their individual rights, but they reach their fullest potential when they're working together. Very much like the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So you want to explore that in your life and in your space. Okay, so we are now at our disseminating moon, September 21st to the 23rd. Happy birthday to those Librans. The disseminating moon card is I acknowledge. How best can I honor my gifts and my light during this time? Where can I express gratitude from the heart? So the full moon, we received the ability to release and let go. We're receiving this new opportunity that we're opening ourselves up into. We're receiving the abundance of the harvest. Now with the disseminating moon, we're acknowledging what we've received. We're acknowledging that we're so lucky, that there's so much here that I have to work with, that I haven't been abandoned. I'm not alone. I've got resource. And not only do I have resource for the things that I'm about to create that I have no idea what I'm going to need. I know that I'm going to have those resources because it's all coming to me. It's that shooting star energy. I've paid attention to it. And so now I'm opening to that space. So, how funny, we've got another Knight, and we've got the Knight of Cups. So we had the Page of Cups, now we've got the Knight of Cups. And so what was I talking about with that energy? Again, Knight of Cups is the romanticist. So in this particular card, he's got his back to us. He's heading towards something. So I feel like in this case, he's made a choice. He's made a choice to leave behind some levels of fear. He's made a choice to leave behind an energy of abandonment. Somebody needs to hear that. And with abandonment comes rejection. When we feel rejected, we can feel abandoned by somebody, or abandoned by life, abandoned by source, spirit, all the things and the stuff. So I feel like this is an acknowledgement that we're all coming to that space of, okay, things maybe haven't worked out exactly the way I thought they were going to work out. But I have option now, and I'm leaving all of that behind because the potential of what I'm building and creating is so much more appealing. I'm excited about the journey, the adventure, the fresh start, the new beginnings. And in order for me to do that, I've got to shed this attachment to the old. And it wasn't that I was rejected because I'm a bad person. It wasn't that I was abandoned because I wasn't enough. It's that the universe was stepping up and saying, this isn't what you want. This isn't going to help you to fulfill your truest potential. This was a step on the path. This was a stepping stone to get you closer to your goal. And so we need to move forward. I feel very strongly that this is a card of empowerment and encouragement as it's coming up, and we're seeing the back. So this card, the vice versa, it's the, you know, the forward, the card itself, and then the reversal. What I'm seeing with this reversal is he's choosing to move on from attachments that are keeping him stuck, and he's moving forward into the next adventure, and it's aligned with the stars. So it is meant to be, and there's a lot of light in this card. So choose the light, acknowledge the light, acknowledge that there are certain things that transpire in our lives. They don't work out exactly the way we thought because there's something better for us that we weren't aware of. We weren't available for it. Well, now you are. So see it as happening for you. Third quarter, I claim. What is being completed in my life at this time, and how can I connect to its release with conviction? This is happening September 24th through the 27th. What does it mean to claim? I own this. I embrace my choices. I own my choices. I claim whatever the outcome is, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm claiming it because it's there to show me the next steps and the path as we move forward. I love it. We've got the victory card, 6 of Wands. So what is being completed in your life and how can you connect to its release with conviction? It's celebrating your wins. It's really taking a look at things from that different perspective and saying it's all happening for me. You know, I've learned from someone in particular this lovely concept that the soul doesn't judge. The soul is here for every experience. The soul's purpose is to have experience. It doesn't say, I want a good experience, a bad experience, a this experience, or a that experience. It says, I want experience. And it's up to us to choose what we take from that experience. It's removing the judgment of good, bad, right, wrong, yes, no, and stepping into the space of what am I learning? And yeah, it can be true that you know, you go through and you have a victory and you're really excited and you're like, yeah, that turned out exactly the way I wanted it to and it feels so good. You want to also acknowledge when you are celebrating this victory that there were probably some hiccups along the way. You know, the hilt of the sword broke off in one of your fights and you had to go hand to hand in combat instead, but you did it in the moment and you still came out victorious. You know, you might have had a plan that your generals, you had 2 particular generals and one was going to flank the right and the other was going to flank the left. And then, you know, the left general came down with the flu at the last minute and wasn't able to fight. And so you had to put someone else in there that maybe didn't understand the plan, but you still made it through. It's acknowledging that everything that occurred is what brought you to this victory. And it all needed to happen in that way. So I feel like the big message here is to celebrate the wins, but to celebrate it by looking at all of the pieces, all of the things that happened to get you to that, because that victory would not be the same victory if everything was just sunshine and daisies, wine and roses. So celebrating that victory, claiming your wins, and also owning up to the things that maybe didn't work as well or could be improved upon, you know, when or if you're faced with those same decisions. It's about bringing alignment to yourself and your own choices. And that feels really important. All right, we're going to get our last affirmation of the reading. Ooh, blue star. Follow the light of your inner compass, the blue star. It will lead you to the truth that resides within your soul. I love this, and I feel like this image kind of matches our Knight of Cups that we got a little bit earlier. So I feel that that energy is coming into this third quarter energy with the victory. So that victory is getting you closer and closer to that blue star. You're following that blue star energy, and it is supporting you. All right, we are at our Balsamic moon card, I Surrender. This is happening September 28th to October 1st. Happy October. Let's see what's coming up. What energy can I lean into to fly free into this new version of me? Understanding that as we go through this, it is a new version of ourselves. We're a new version of ourselves every day, every minute of every day, because we're constantly evolving. So what energy can I lean into to fly free into this new version of me? What can I consider as I embrace this opportunity to know myself anew? Beautiful. So we've got the High Priestess. And the High Priestess card here, excuse me, in this tarot deck is the reverse. So what I'm feeling here is it's understanding that the choices that you made intuitively are now behind you. And it's about taking a step back, evaluating and reviewing those choices that were made, and understanding that those choices are foundation now for how you're going to move forward and move ahead. In this depiction, I'm really drawn to the blue flame and the red flame that's giving off this sort of purple hue. And I feel like this is an invitation for you when we surrender into what is. It's a surrendering into, I don't have control over any of this. I am only in control of the choices that I make. And I can choose to make those choices based on logic, reason, rationality, and I can choose to ignore my intuition, my inspired thought as it comes through. Or I can choose to live a more inspired, intuitional life. And there's no right or wrong, but anyone who's watching this, you're really on a path of choosing that inspired action, choosing that intuitional life. I can't imagine why you'd be watching this if you didn't, but if you are, awesome. You know, you're going to provide a different perspective here. The number 2 is also really important here because I feel that there's a blending, we talked about this earlier, a blending of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, a blending of, these two separate energies that have an existence on their own, but really work well and come to their fullest potential when together. And this is the as above, so below. What I receive from my guides and intuitionally, I have the option to manifest into the real world. And so I feel that you're taking a step back and you're observing what is coming up and coming through. It's also a time to just kind of give yourself a chance to assess and take in everything that has transpired. To not evaluate so much. I mean, you could use the word evaluate, but it's really like giving yourself time to process. And that's what I feel this is taking that step back, removing yourself from the choices for a moment and processing it so that you can then own it and claim it and be in that space. I receive. So this final card is the Dark Moon. I release. This is the Dark Moon card. And the Dark Moon card is not the scientific part of the cycle, the new moon cycle. It is the energetic. And so the Dark Moon, I release. What can I release control of or walk away from, knowing it has served its purpose? How can I remain open to the new and the unknown in this process? This is happening on September 30th. So understand that this particular day, anything that you want to release attachment to that you've maybe, mistakenly or unexpectedly attached yourself to during this cycle, this is the time to release it. Beautiful. We've got the 3 of Wands. 3 of Wands is a card of expansion. It says, think outside the box. It says there's so much more that is available to you and waiting for you. And again, this is in the reverse position in this particular depiction. And we're seeing his back. You know, he's got his back. I'm sorry, it's not the reverse. It's the forward. Sorry, it's not the reversal. Ooh, these cards are messing with me today. So this is the traditional card that he's looking over the horizon and looking to see what else is there. He's got the world in his hands. He's holding this globe because as far as he's concerned, I've arrived. I achieved what I'm holding the world in my hands. I've arrived and I've achieved it. And all of a sudden he looks out and he sees, wow, that isn't desert, that's ocean. There's life there. There's movement there. There's something more to explore. I feel like for us, the message here with this expansion is it's not releasing the expansion. It's releasing the idea that I've already arrived at everything I'm supposed to achieve. It's really the card that invites you to release any fear around moving forward, around asking for too much, about being greedy or taking too much or moving too quickly. I don't feel like that's what this is. This is saying, move forward. There's so much more for you. And what you've created and what you started is literally just that. It's a beginning. It's a beginning, and there's so much more to come. So open yourself to what is to come. Wow, guys, that is our new moon reading for the new moon on September 2nd. What an incredible month that we're going to be stepping into. Feel free to like, subscribe, and click the bell on my YouTube channel for more content like this. And consider joining my completely free Black Feather community. All the support and guidance you can handle. Get to know some like-minded, like-hearted souls. We're all here in it together for you. And if you're struggling at all in this particular cycle with any of the things that are coming up, consider booking a session with me. Click on the link in the description below. I would recommend a Phoenix 360 Extreme Clarity experience this month, considering all of the things, the issues, the environment, the energy that's coming through. You might want to focus on one or two particular issues and get that clarity, focus, and direction to help you really thrive in the coming months. So click on the link below and I would love to connect with you. Take care, guys. Have the most amazing month and transform well.